So welcome everyone. We are waiting for Foster Akugri to give the opening address. I don't know. He's finding a bit of challenge getting in, or he should be able to get in without any problems. But I'll try to get him to join us as soon as possible so we can start the program. Let's give him a minute to join us. So, yeah, as whilst we wait for him, I would introduce myself, although I will not be moderating any parts of this program. But my name is Jennifer Ohemeng, and I'm one of the contributors of Ambitious Africa Ghana and Ambitious Africa Global. And we work together, the team Ghana and the Ambitious Global team. We collaborated closely in putting together this program today, or this event. And with some of the information that was shared from the beginning, this event came about when we had our launch event in June of this year. So basically, we try to try to solve a problem that there's a shortage of cybersecurity experts in Ghana. And talking to our Finnish counterparts, we came up with this idea of training more people to contribute in the industry in Ghana and the whole world at large, because I think cybersecurity is a very popular topic nowadays. Everyone is talking about it. So that is how this event came about. And since our preparations, I think as part of our preparations to this event, we spoke to a couple of universities in Ghana and then also in Finland here. And we are here today, so we are very happy that our efforts at least paid off, or it seems it has paid off, all the hard work and all the meetings and all the discussions we had. So I wouldn't talk too much. I'll give the floor back to, I think Bawah is here. If you can introduce yourself shortly, and then Eyram will come and take over. Is Foster? Okay, Foster is coming. Let's see if he's able to join.
Hello, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So my name is Hamzah Bawah, and I'm the lead of research and development at Hacklab Foundation. It's a foundation that seeks to equip the youth with the skills for the future, technological skills for the future. And I'll be moderating the second panel for today, that is strengthening privacy policy and child safety on the internet.
Thank you. And Foster, if you can continue, we've been waiting for you, so.
Hello, apologies everyone. I was struggling a bit to join the meeting, but I'm here now. Thank you all for making time to join today's conversation. It's going to be a very brief but relevant conversation that will carry on that will have actions that will carry on to other initiatives. So my name once again is Foster Akugri. I serve as co-ambassador to Ambitious Africa along with Eyram Tawia, and also support the public business incubator as well as the Hacklab Foundation. Everything I do is usually centered around a single purpose, which is helping people find their paths. And the opportunity to be part of Ambitious Africa and Ambitious Ghana is none other but one of the initiatives that helped me achieve this purpose effectively. So thank you all once again. So the session would be in three major parts. There is going to be an introductory session where we would invite a few people, a few partners to share a few words. After that, we'll break into the panel discussions And right after the panel discussions, we'll zoom in to have a soft launch of a cybersecurity program that is being launched in Ghana between a number of Finnish universities and a number of Ghanaian universities as well. And for us at Ambitious Africa and Ambitious Ghana, our ultimate goal is to be able to create a platform that facilitates exchange of information around three major areas: education, entrepreneurship, and entertainment. And this initiative is one of the many others yet to come and that have already happened to help us realize this exchange program and make it more effective as possible. So thank you once again for joining us. I would like to call on Eyram Tawia, who is co-ambassador and executive director for Ambitious Ghana, to give us a quick remarks.
Yes, thank you very much, Foster, for the wonderful intro. So hi, everyone. My name is Eyram Tawia, and I'm the country lead for Ambitious Africa, as Foster said. And we are really happy to have everyone here. So just before I go into the speech, I would say something small about Ambitious Africa. So Ambitious Africa is an organization which is consciously pairing the Nordics to the to African startups and African initiatives on three major pillars, which is education, entertainment, and entrepreneurship. So these are the three pillars that skyrocketed Finland or the Nordics to where they are in a very short period. So in developing these pillars on the continent, we at Ambitious Africa have a 5-year duration to transform Africa in all the sectors, leveraging these main three pillars. And with this cybersecurity event, it's targeted at our basically entrepreneurship wing and education wing. The reason is considering the growth of IT usage, and especially in this COVID season, we've all seen that everyone is using technology very, very, very much. And with the use of technology comes the use of loopholes in different aspects. So cybersecurity has become very important topic to be discussed. And this event will seek to highlight what happens at the child bit, where children now are using a lot of technology and how safe they are going to, or the safest ways to use it, as well as what it means professionally to also transact businesses through the internet, financially and all that. So we have very renowned stakeholders on the various panels that is going to be moderated by industry experts. And I'm really happy that all of you have joined and would actually enjoy the discussions and also contribute to what we can all together use to make our lives better. The other side is also, as much as cybersecurity has become a major topic, in order to grow skill set in this sector, the education bit has to be tackled. And we know Finland is one of the, or it's, when it comes to cybersecurity, is one of the best in the whole world. SSH originated from Finland. So we at Ambitious Africa are consciously bringing all the stakeholders behind this world-class cybersecurity initiative from the Nordics and bringing it into Africa through our educational institutions. And we've been talking to a couple of universities who are also going to speak on this conference, one of which is Blue Crest University. Thank you so much, Blue Crest, for all the support. I can see the Vice Rector here, Dr. Adnan. Thank you very much for all the support. Academic Citi, NNIT, and a few more. These universities, together with Ambitious Africa, would be initiating cybersecurity courses and certification soon in the near future, and we'll be happy to announce that as well at this event. So a lot in store. Just hang on as we dive into an amazing discussion. So in order to just close my speech, know that Ambitious Africa is here for you. If you are a mentor who has some time to mentor upcoming entrepreneurs, please contact us. If you are a student looking for opportunities, internships, and all that, please contact us. If you're a company who has a project and need interns and finished talent or talent from different African countries or even in Ghana, contact us. Ambitious Africa can help you build your projects and realize your vision in a very short time. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Over to you, Foster.
Thank you very much, Eyram, for that succinct presentation on an overview of Ambitious Ghana and what we are trying to do here. I also have on the call Peter. Peter is the founder actually of Ambitious Africa, and he will be giving a brief remarks before we move on to the next phase of this program. Peter?
Yes, hey, so it's great that I could join. So greetings from Hamzah. I'm here at the HAMK Design Factory. So we're actually doing a workshop around the chocolate business and also we're working with the Ambitious Africa Ghana team. So it's a lot of Ghana activity in Ambitious Africa today. Chocolate and cybersecurity. So what a fantastic combination. And very unexpected, but anyway, just and I'll show you here, like we have a big team here in the background working on this. So but yeah, anyway, as Eyram was already saying, we have a lot of cybersecurity expertise in Finland. So SSH we created here, but we also have a lot of companies, F-Secure, Nixu, a lot of companies working on cybersecurity. There's a long tradition in that area, and we also have fantastic training programs in the area of cybersecurity. So I think that it's a great opportunity for us to work together, bring together the top universities in Ghana and in Finland and rest of the Nordic countries. So I think that there's a lot that we can do together. And again, also I think it's important, to look at the education, but we're doing in Ambitious Africa, it's also about entrepreneurship. So I think that it's super interesting to look at then how we can enable more, entrepreneurial activity in the cybersecurity ecosystem. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to work together between Ghana and Nordic countries and Finland in particular. There has like a lot of things that we can bring to the table when it comes to the security side. So anyway, I once again want to thank you all for being here, and I think that we have a lot of opportunity to work together and bring together the best of Ghana, best of Finland, and best of Africa, best of the EU and Europe. So it's really, really good to see all this activity, and look forward to kind of like seeing you all very soon, and hopefully we'll get through the pandemic quickly so we can also meet face to face. But yeah, so once again, greetings from Hämeenlinna and the Design Factory here, and doing another like Ghana related activity. So good to see that there's so much going on. So thank you to Team Ghana for pulling this all together. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Peter, for that introduction. We have Dr. Anand from Bluecrest. He's the director for Bluecrest. Hello, Doc. Can you give your remarks?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm working as president of the Bluecrest College in Ghana. See, Bluecrest College is the pioneer in the area of IT education in the country. We started our IT education offerings in the name of NIIT 20 years ago in the country. And we were the first to provide IT education in the country here. And even now, if you ask about IT education, Bluecrest is always on the top. Now, we became separate from NIIT 10 years back when we started giving degree and diploma level courses in the country here. And we have always focused on providing the best IT education in the country. And I'm very glad, and it's very relevant and meaningful at this point of time to have a project with Ambitious Africa on cybersecurity. Indeed, this is a need of the time at this point of time for the whole world, because the way we are going ahead in the cyber sphere, security is a very, very important concern, and we need to work hand in hand to address the issues and concerns and to be at the top of the security, which are basically impacting many people who are in the cyber sphere at this point of time. And a good quality education actually will have a very good impact, a very high impact on the use of cyber features, on the use of cyber spheres. So I'm very glad that Ambitious Africa has reached us. We appreciate what Ambitious Africa is doing, and we are rightly placed as a high quality education institution focusing on technology. We have actually 4 pillars, and Mr. Eyram was talking about the pillars of Ambitious Africa. We similarly have 4 pillars for Bluecrest, and the 4 pillars are leadership, innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. We call it LIGHT. So LIGHT is L is for leadership, I is for innovation, T for technology, and E for entrepreneurship. So our pillars are like the same pillars of Ambitious Africa. So it's a very good match, and we are looking forward with Mr. Peter and the team in Finland to jointly launch some new high quality programs in the area of cybersecurity. And we are well placed for it because we have very high quality infrastructure. We have all the required resources. We have the best faculty members in Ghana who teach IT courses. And that is why I think it makes a lot of sense for us to join hands. And I welcome everyone to be a part of this venture, to contribute, and to let's have a kind of a learning together so that we can all progress together. And Bluecrest vision is to make a positive impact in the African region. So it is very much aligned to what we are already doing. So with that, I complete my speech. Thank you, Mr. Eyram. Thank you, Mr. Foster.
We'll move on to give the floor to the representative from Turku University to give an opening remarks.
Yes, hello. This is Eyram Tawia from Turku University of Applied Sciences. Today I'm filling in for the head of the ICT unit, Tero Reunanen. So I'm happy to participate in discussions for the cyber resilience. I'm working as an executive principal lecturer in cybersecurity and also as a research team leader in cybersecurity. So Turku University of Applied Sciences is focusing very much its education and research and development activities towards this topic. So, for example, in the engineering education, we have network security, IoT security study paths, so the students can focus on different topics. In business studies, we have more on the service or application information security, and also the privacy issues are included there. In a master's level, we have a general ICT program where we have information security content. And then we have also master level education, specialized studies for IT professionals who are targeting to become cybersecurity professionals. We are participating in relevant networks so that we know that our education and research and development activities are up to date. So, for example, we are part of the Finnish Information Cluster and European Cybersecurity Organization. So that's in brief, the Turku University of Applied Sciences kind of competences on the field, and I'm very delighted to be part of these discussions on cyber resilience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very, very much for that quick remarks and giving us an overview of the university. If you just joined us, this is the cybersecurity webinar brought to you by Ambitious Ghana. And the focus is discussing the subject advancing cyber resilience in Ghana. And we've been on a journey through the fourth industrial revolution over the last couple of years. And COVID has sort of accelerated the need to make technology the primary and not necessarily the secondary anymore in everything we are doing. Governments and institutions or organizations that were far advanced in leveraging technology to interface with their customers and also to improve their business operations kind of sailed through smoothly in the midst of the storm COVID presented us and causing us to restrict movement, etc., etc. And this has led to a lot of people migrating onto leveraging digital platforms. This also exposes us to a lot of cyber threats. There's a new way of robbery, which is no more breaking into your homes, but finding a way to get into your device. And that's where they can find out everything about you, steal your money, expose you. And the subject of privacy is also very, very critical. Schools have been closed for a long time now as part of the measures to curtail the spread of the virus. This means children also have to stay home, and parents have to resort to using online mediums to keep their children engaged. It's on this premise that the second conversation about strengthening privacy policy and child safety on the internet will be had. So without much ado, we'll quickly zoom into the very first conversation, which is focused on building cybersecurity resilience in Ghana and the role of governments in playing that role. We'll be having Albert Yenchi, who is the head of IT security at Stanbic Bank Ghana, joining this conversation. We'll also be having Dr. Fred, if he's on the call. Quick shout outs from Academic Citi University to also join us on this panel for this conversation. This panel will be moderated by Mr. Philip Ashon. Philip Ashon is a journalist at Citi FM. He hosts one of the most popular tech show on Citi FM usually on Thursdays. I'm not sure of it, but I'm sure Philip would give feedback with time. So we'll quickly zoom into this panel discussion. But before that,
hi.
Hello.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hello, Philip.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hello. Yes, this is Foster.
Oh, Foster. Foster, sorry about that. How are you doing, Foster?
Fine. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Fantastic.
That was a marvelous introduction, by the way. Thank you so much for setting the tone for the conversation today.
You're welcome. So I would be handing over to you as driver for the next phase of this program. So yeah, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Foster. So like Foster said, my name is Philip Ashon. I am the host of Citi Trends at Citi FM. And of course, I'm also the head of television production at Citi TV. The whole show is actually every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. And yeah, I hope you guys find time to listen in, or you can just catch up on the podcast anytime you're ready. So one of the biggest topics that, you know, of course, we find ourselves discussing from time to time is on the issue of security. And as has been already said by, I'm sure, Eyram and the rest of the team already, the opening remarks, is a very critical point that we find ourselves, because a lot of things have moved online, and it is necessary that we not just build up on the education of the citizens in terms of their security consciousness. It's also important that we understand the role that governments have to play in reinforcing, you know, the security networks that we operate in, or the frameworks that we operate in. And that is what I'm hoping we can tease out from Albert and Dr. Makbagonluri. That's basically what we're going to be talking about: building cybersecurity resilience in Ghana, role of government. So I'd just like to do a quick intro and find out if the members of my panel are here. Albert Yunchi is the head of IT security at Stanbic Bank Ghana. Albert, if you can hear me, please unmute and then just do a quick intro before we get to Dr. Makbagonluri.
Hi, Philip, thank you. I'm here. So, like you've already said, I manage IT security for Stanbic Bank. And yeah,
Hi,
so
Albert. We can hardly hear you.
Hi, I hope it's better now.
We can hear you now.
Right. So, like I have been introduced, I'm Albert, and I manage IT security for Stanbic Bank. So, ready when you are, Philip.
All right. Doc, are you with us? Dr. Makbagonluri? Well, I can't hear from Doc, so it looks like you are. I'm stuck with you, and I am very happy to be stuck with you, Albert. So, Albert, from where you sit, where do you think, or what do you think our resilience levels look like? Let's say we are supposed to be grading Ghana's cybersecurity resilience from on a scale of 0 to, let's say, 50. Where would you put Ghana currently?
I would say 20. I would put Ghana 20 over 50 because a lot is being done. This month was the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The program was a successful one. I was there myself. I think our government is doing quite a lot. So Ghana is at the formative stage, if I should say. The bill is yet to be passed, it's still in Parliament, but some structural works are being done, like the setup of a National Cybersecurity Center that is done. There's a National Cybersecurity Advisor who advises the Minister of Communication. We've seen the policy, in fact, they actually took input from the industry. I saw the policy. We gave input from a financial industry point of view. We gave input. So I believe the telcos and other industries like insurance also gave their inputs. So it was quite a broad consultative process to get a policy together, which is with Parliament now. Last week, I know that NITA, which is the National Information Technology Agency, they opened or they launched a cybersecurity operations center for ministries and agencies. So I think quite a lot is being done. I know that there's a short code that you can also call or test if you suspect a cyber breach. So the basic things that we need, or the structures are being built now. It's just for us to now increase awareness and then increase the maturity that we have. So far, I would say we are still at the formative stages, but the focus as I can see.
How coordinated is all of this? Because from what you're saying, it sounds like a number of things are happening in different quarters. How coordinated is all of this, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, so for what I have been involved myself, I know that. So you see, let me put it this way: when it comes to the cyberspace in Ghana, I think the most matured space would be the banking industry. And I know a lot of you may disagree with me because of the things that we hear about happening in the banks and all of that. But yet, the banking industry still remains the most matured when it comes to cybersecurity. So even if that space is the most matured, we have incidents, you can imagine the other areas. So when government started this, we've had some consultation, and they did bring the policy to the Ghana Association of Bankers that they got us to look at this. We made input based on what we've seen and what we know. So all this is coordinated by the National Cybersecurity Center. And there's an advisor who looks after this. So National Cybersecurity Center sits with NITA as a National Information Technology Agency under the Ministry of Communications. So on that front, they are doing this. I am not too sure if the publicity has been as wide as probably it should be, but I know that last week the advisor did mention that within this year alone, they've had contact with about 5,000 Ghanaians who have called them about some sort of either mobile fraud, or they suspect cybersecurity incidents on their machines, or they need advice. So they've been on social media, but I must admit that publicity definitely has not gone as wide as it should be. But I know that some work is really going on, and it's all coordinated by the National Cybersecurity Center.
I see. Well, I mean, we can't help it as citizens and as industry players noticing what is happening globally. I mean, you have all these stories, for example, from the US, where the major social media platforms and new media platforms, where someone in front of the Senate at some point, where some questions were put to them about antitrust and all these other things. There seems to be a deliberate
Hello, Philip?
Yeah, Philip, your mic is muted.
I'm so sorry. So, Albert, what I was asking was, I mean, we've seen in times past, a couple of months ago, for example, where the CEOs of the major technology companies, Google, Facebook, Amazon, and the like, were summoned before the Senate. And, questions were put to them about, anti-competitive practices and other related issues. It clearly shows you that globally, I mean, we've currently today, I read a story about, for example, Facebook and Apple facing, some huge fines and things like that, and antitrust sort of cases in France and all of that. It appears that globally, governments are very, very active within the space and are taking very huge leaps in terms of putting in place measures to protect the citizens. It can be along the lines of cybersecurity, it can be along the lines of competitiveness, it can be along the lines of whichever. I'm not sure if we get the same level of participation, A, and B, control, from our government on this side. And I don't know if for you as an industry person, if it worries you as much, or if it's something that we should just, sit back and see how it unfolds.
Rightly so, Philip. And of course, you see the enthusiasm with which other countries move when these things happen. And for us, like I'm saying, the bill is still in Parliament. It hasn't been passed yet, right? So it tells the commitment of the government. Yes, I know that the agency involved is working vigorously, but collectively, from a government perspective, you see that there's a lot of things lacking in this space. So for us in Ghana, really, what I have seen is that it's each for himself so far. So the regulator, but the most proactive regulator in Ghana now is the Bank of Ghana, right? So Bank of Ghana issued a directive, Cyber and Information Security Directive in 2018, and the directive took effect in 2019. Now it has a whole lot of requirements that all banks and financial institutions should comply with, else their licenses will be revoked. And because of that, you see a lot of things, controls being put in place when it comes to banks, especially the commercial banks, to avert these things. But apart from the banking industry, I don't know if the telcos, the insurance regulator, the what's it called, the healthcare sector. As for healthcare sector, I don't think anything of that sort has been even discussed, right? Probably insurance, maybe, but Ghana as a whole, if you take the banking sector out of the equation, it's probably zero everywhere. Now we have a lot of regulators around that should be moving this. So if the government is not pushing this, at least the regulators should be seen as doing something, and that is lacking. So I get worried during this COVID time. You see a lot of breaches in hospitals and all of that. I get worried that is anyone looking at our hospitals and the data that we have? So a lot of hospitals are going online, are going digital. If they get hit by ransomware, does it mean that there is no hospital records to take care of patients? So if you look at this industry, if you dissect the industries and you look at it with a microscopic eye, you see that really, 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 there's not much we have done as a country. But we're just hoping that the bill will be passed as quickly as possible and it will cover all industries in Ghana. But so far, it is the individual organization who needs to take up the mantle and do things for themselves.
I'm going to bring in Jaco Pavola. He is a wireless communications and cyber security research group leader at Turku University in Finland. Jaco, if you can hear me, are you also running on hope at your end, or there's something more definitive that is happening in Finland? Hello, Jaco. Unfortunately, we don't have Jaco on the line. Well, Albert.
Jaco on the call, but his mic is muted.
Okay. Is there any way someone can hint to him that we are inviting him to the conversation? But I mean, while we do that, Albert, let's continue with the conversation. So what you're basically saying is that a lot of things are being hinged on hope. And if I know anything about the technology space, hope is like one of the last things that you consider, because literally everything is either calculated and executed or not. And it's a very, very scary proposition for businesses, for one, for individuals, for one, to honestly be moving around in an age as we have it. For example, like you said, a lot of hospitals now are using, very, at least, advanced modes of sort of working around who gets to see which doctor and things like that. All of this is being migrated online. You can see a lot of Google spreadsheet work being done and things like that. Now, if we have to hinge a lot of these things on hope, and I've currently not seen a lot of people who attack people's computers with ransomware and things like that who live on hope. It's either you pay or you don't. I mean, for all of this to be hinged on hope is a very, I don't know how to describe it, but it's very, very unfortunate if you'll agree with me. And I think that it's something that we really need to take a second look at. I don't know, what can we do currently to hopefully bring government attention as to how serious they should be taking these issues?
You see, you still use hopefully. Right. So, I mean, as a nation, right, and now I'm just speaking about all the industries, retail. We have a lot of online presence, people marketing online. We have online shops. We have the eGov platform that if you need a service from a government entity, you're expected to pay online. Now, like I'm saying, so if you look at NITA, for instance, who looks at the government platforms, they have gone ahead to institute a cybersecurity operations center because they see the need in it. If you look at the banking industries, most of the banks have put in a lot of controls because they see the need in it. If you look at now the other areas when it comes to hospital and all of that, I don't know who is going to push them. Now, the only thing will be the bill. I use the word hope because I don't know exactly what is happening in Parliament and when the bill will be passed. But if, for instance, there was a timeline to, maybe they have a timeline, we are just not aware of it. Say that by the end of December, this bill will be passed. Now, anyone who utilizes a computer or a technology of a sort, this is their expectation. This is what we expect of you. I'm sure a lot of people will set up because now it is for an individual and an organization to make a case to management to say that, see, we are doing this, we need to protect it. This is the information we are taking from our customers, we need to protect it. If you are not fortunate and you don't get a progressive management, they are not going to give you the money to pursue cybersecurity unless a regulator forces them to. Now, with the lack of the regulator, any of these industries coming into force management, then we come back to hoping that you would have a progressive management to do this. So as a nation, to look at it holistically, just this bill, which will now criminalize inactions of certain management. That is what is going to help us, because that's what is helping these foreign countries. So if you look at Europe, for instance, they have the GDPR. Now, what they are saying is that it even transcends to all other continents. Even if you are in Africa and you process information about any European, right, and then you are breached or you don't take certain measures, they can fine you from Europe because you cater for their people. So that is the level that they have gotten to, even as a continent, when it comes to Europe. So if as a nation, we don't get that bill and force organizations to do that, then we will still be at this hopeful stage. Now, point number 2, we have a data protection commission, right? In fact, we even have a data protection act, which was issued in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. The act, it forces any organization that takes personally identifiable information from individuals to tell them what we are using the data for and the like. But ask yourself, how many, I mean, you go to any company or you go to a place at the security section, they want you to write your name, your phone number, your email address in a book. Anybody at all can take that book. And once you take the book, people will start testing you. So you'll be there, people are testing you for you won lottery and you wonder how they got to your numbers. Because everywhere we get to, they're asking us for these details. Now, who is looking at all of these things? We have a data protection commission, which is supposed to transcend to all of these areas and protect the citizenry. But there's no enforcement. And you know that is our biggest issue in this country. We can have a wonderful act, but never ever are we able to get to the enforcement stage. So until we criminalize and enforcement takes place, I'm sorry, we probably will be at this stage unless the management of individual organizations act.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll just have to hinge on hope then, because it doesn't look like a lot of acting is going to happen. I mean, I just want us to be as realistic as possible with each other, Albert. I mean, there's election coming up. When you listen to the discourse, either on radio or TV, in the newspapers, it doesn't seem like cybersecurity happens to be anything on top of anybody's list. And so it is mostly about fixing some road somewhere or something close to that. Now, if we are not minded, or our government is not minded necessarily about the cybersecurity resilience levels of the country, what do you think we, the stakeholders, or we, the industry players, can do to push government's hand? The bill is in Parliament, is being considered, blah, blah, blah. But is there anything that you consider we doing? Can we hit the streets? Can we do something, online petitions? What can we do to push government to make this a priority as against, everything else that it is balancing at the moment? Because I understand the Ministry of Communication has also done a bit, but obviously for now, its focus is not necessarily on strengthening the cybersecurity within the country, and even in terms of sensitization of the people. Because it's one thing having a cybersecurity framework or infrastructure. It's another thing getting the people to understand what their rights and their roles and responsibilities are within that framework. And I'm wondering if you could share some thoughts about that for us.
So, I mean, to be fair, I think a lot has been done in the past 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. I think it was launched in 2018. The past 2 years than it has ever been, because we got as a nation, we got the National Cybersecurity Center, and we have a set, which is the Computer Emergency Response Team. I know they've been working a lot with the police when it comes to prosecution and all of that. So we've done something, right? So to be fair, we can't just say that nothing has been, a lot has been done. So that infrastructure is being prepared or has been prepared. Now, what else do we need to do? Which really is the majority of the work or the bulk of the work? So I would say about 20% is done, but we need to cover the 80%. And the key thing is awareness. Awareness is the key thing because most people don't even know their rights when it comes to information. I'll give an example. When we were doing the voters registration, after you've gone through the registration, someone would call you and ask for your name and phone number. Then I asked the person, what do you need it for? Apparently, it was the political parties taking this information. But once you try to say that, no, I can't give you this information because I don't know why you need my information. It is not something you need to complete the registration. You are seen as you're being too known, Ghana, you're being too known, like you know your rights, kind of thing. But it is my information. I choose to give to you or not, right? So once citizens are aware of the power they have over their information, we can choose to give the information out or not. And once we give the information out, we can force the organization to prove to us that they are using the information for what they intended for it to be used. If not, we can send them to the Data Protection Commission to sanction them. One, a lot of people don't even know that we have a commission, a Data Protection Commission, which has been set up to look after the data that we give to organizations. So if you don't know, you would think that is how things are supposed to be. So education is key, and I think we need to take that education as seriously as we take political campaigns. How every station is talking about parties, but really, if not certain individuals or radio stations on their own setting up these programs that they would educate, no one ever talks about cybersecurity. But everyone has been affected by Momo fraud here and there. And when it happens, we are blaming the telcos. But a lot of things that we could have done to avert that. So I would say that majority of the thing that we need to do is awareness. Now, who needs to do that awareness? Government would have been the best, yes, but as individuals, as organizations, so for instance, because of the slow pace from a government perspective, we have in the banking industry, for instance, we have a group for the cybersecurity, and then even a group for the information, chief information officers. So once we come together, we're able to have a voice. We can go to Bank of Ghana and tell them, this is what we need to do, that is what we need to do. Likewise, I don't know who would go speak for the health practitioners, unless the citizens decide that we are hitting the streets. But we just probably need to come together, like a few of us who are enlightened in this space. We probably can come together, and I'm happy that this conversation is happening, which means that we have this group. We are talking about cybersecurity today because we see the need in it. Now, how do we transcend this to the citizen? And that's one thing we can do. So as an activist group, we can take it upon ourselves and then start the awareness whilst we wait for government to complete whatever they need to do. But once people are aware, government will set up. That's for sure.
Albert, if I may ask, one of the things that sometimes helps with public information is when there are institutions who are either offering platforms or offering sponsorship for such information to be packaged in a way that people understand. From your experience, do you know any institutions that are offering either a grant or something along that line for people to be able to understand better the information that is being offered them, for example?
Well, so far, I haven't come across any. What I have seen is that when individuals come together and they set up a program, they now go around looking for sponsorship. They would get one or two sponsorships, but I haven't seen any that's been set up solely to do this. Perhaps if we were to go to the National Cybersecurity Center to say that, you know what, we have this platform, we want to do awareness, how can we partner? I don't know if they have funds, because, it's a government institution and everything is donor sponsored. So, but I'm sure once we put something, once something comes up, or once a body decides to do this awareness, like it happens in Ghana every time, you now have to go around soliciting for funds, but I haven't seen any fund that's been set up solely to take care of this.
See, Albert, thank you so much. Well, is there anybody in the session who has a question? If you do, please put the question in the chat section. I just have one more question for Albert before I wrap up on the session. So if you have any question, please just put it in the text box so I can pose a question to Albert before we wrap up. Albert, in wrapping up, and thank you so much for all the nuggets of wisdom that you shared with us today. But in wrapping up, I mean, as the topic suggests, it's literally about building on the cybersecurity resilience of the country. That's the core of what we are trying to unearth and discuss. And in your wrapping up comments, I would just like you to basically give us a sense of how we can get to a point where we can say Ghana is 90% cybersecurity resilient. Do you foresee us saying that anytime soon, for example?
Oh, wow. Anytime soon is relative. I mean, beyond cybersecurity, now I look at Ghana in terms of all other policies that have been instituted that needs to be enforced. I mean, look at sanitation. I strongly believe that the way we handle sanitation will be the same way we are going to handle cybersecurity issues, which means we are likely not to get anywhere if we have to rely on government, right? Now, what other thing can we do? Now, if the various if you look at it from a top down, like government would definitely pass the bill. I'm sure probably by next year, or maybe by close of this year, the bill will be passed. Yes, bill has been passed. What's next? If an organization decides not to go according to the bill, what can we do? Can we sanction them? Can we really enforce all the things that we put in the bill? Because you can have a very nice bill, but the enforcement is likely not to happen. As for that, I am not too hopeful about it, that enforcement would happen. But what we can do is that individually, maybe we can start the awareness in any group of community that we are. We can start the awareness, we can start doing the broadcasting. And once we demand for our rights in this space, I'm sure governments will set up. Every organization is also to relook at the information that they receive and put in steps to protect it. By and large, we will start securing the cyberspace of Ghana, because the cyberspace doesn't sit in vacuum, right? So for instance, if the telcos put in a lot of measures, we cover that space. If the banking institution puts in a lot of measures, we cover that space. And that's really what we can do. Other than that, it's going to take us a long while from the pace, the way we are going, and then our attitude towards policy enforcement. Yeah.
We have two questions on the platform. I'd just like to put that to you quickly. This is coming from Godfred Akwete Brown. He says, "Hi, Albert. You spoke about mobile money fraud and the fact that we can blame the telco. We can't blame the telcos too much. Could you please explain that?"
All right. So for every mobile fraud, right, it starts with social engineering. So someone calls you and tells you that I've sent you money. Can you send it back to me? One, we don't even verify our balance. Once you look at the text message, you send it back. Or someone will call you in the middle of the night and will say that I am calling from MTN. Press here, press there. Then they will be taking you through some process. By the time you realize you have given them your PIN, that has nothing to do with the telco. Of course, the telco probably can do a whole lot of things, put in some technology to make it more difficult. That would happen. But so far as you as an individual, you are vulnerable when it comes to social engineering. No matter what technology the telco puts in, someone will be able to talk you into giving out all these codes that give to you. So the blame is I would say, is 50-50. 50 to the telcos to make sure that they put in enough controls to avert some of these things, and 50 to us as an individual, because we need to really open our eyes to some of these things.
Second question, Felix Bento says, "What is your take on involving cybersecurity professionals at every stage of the application development?"
That is in fact, even in matured organization, this is something that we still battle with, right? Because a lot of times the cyber experts are seen as roadblockers. They are going to ask us to do this. So the people try to quickly put in the application and not even tell us till the last stage of it. But there's something that we call security by design. When you say security by design, means that in your mind, right, you know that security is as essential as the functionality that you are churning out. So for every stage of it, you need to involve security. And it's a very important point that Felix raises. And that is what a lot of organizations, a lot of programmers, a lot of developers try to dodge. But if you dodge, at the end of the day, someone will exploit your application and the whole organization will be exposed. But if you really understand and sit with the cybersecurity experts, we will come up with really solid applications, and that's what we need to do. Once we come up with really solid applications, the rest is just about education to the user and how they are going to use it and all of that. But it's really an important aspect of cybersecurity when it comes to application design.
We have one more question, and this comes from Eyram Tawia. He says, "There was information circulating these corona times saying people who advertise with donations into Momo accounts should include their registered names in the ads for verification purposes, as fraudsters are changing the phone numbers on these artworks and diverting these monies. An issue like this, is there no other technical way to fix without going through this educating the public route, for example, because it might be giving away other critical information as well?"
Spot on. A lot of times in educating people, we end up giving more information than we are even supposed to, right? Now, that's why I said that the telcos are also supposed to put in a lot of technical controls. So when it comes to security, there's something we call the security in depth, which means that no single control will be able to avert all kinds of risk. So the telcos, as much as technically possible, should put in a whole lot of technical controls. But you see, sometimes the more technical controls you put in, the less user-friendly the whole system becomes. So most of the times what we try to do is to balance usability with security. And that is where the challenge usually comes, because the person from security will say, okay, let's put in two-factor authentication before someone can utilize it, use a fingerprint, scan your retina, do that. But imagine you just want to pay. You as a user, you want to just swipe and pay. But then the security person will say, no, just swiping and pay poses a risk. So we need to do A, B, C, D. So for you now swipe, you put in a pin, you open your eyes, you do retina, then you don't even want to use the product again. So I think that's the challenge that the telcos battle with, and not just the telcos. I mean, almost any digital service provider. That's a challenge that we face. But as technology progresses, we would be able to find a balance between technically stopping majority of these things and still ensuring that usability is achieved. Thanks.
We have a contribution as well. Christian Senor Achichoglu says, with cybersecurity issue being the new kid on the block in Ghana, we need to do a lot to build trust in the institutions, and that will be the regulatory forefront, or that will be at the regulatory forefront. In that regard, I agree with the speaker. Lots of awareness is needed. It will be sad to see our cybersecurity agencies become one of the government's institutions that citizens lose trust in. Well, with that particular contribution there, I would like to say a big thank you to everybody. We also have just one more coming through from Felix. As Albert said earlier, most organizations are not ready to invest in security, especially in Ghana. I've discovered and reported several vulnerabilities to organizations, some of which are in Ghana, but I later went back to it and yet nothing had been done. Well, Felix, that sadly is a situation. We really hope that things will get better. But Albert, you have been amazing. Thank you so much for making time to share your thoughts on this particular topic. I can't wait to actually invite you over onto my show, because I think you would really be an awesome guest on my show one of these days. So let's get together and talk about it. But that will be all from me. I'd just like to quickly hand over to the team to take it over. I believe there's another session coming up. So Foster, if you can hear me, please do take it up, and let's see how the rest of the event goes.
All right, thank you very, very much. That was a very, very insightful conversation. Thank you very much, Albert, for your great input. I guess we've learned a lot on how important cybersecurity is for organizations and for us as individuals. On to the next panel is we are talking about child safety on the internet and what measures can we put in place as parents or as siblings or guardians to ensure that whichever child is going on the internet or has access to the internet through any device or medium is properly supervised to ensure they do not encounter any form of exploits online. And moderating this panel discussion is Hamzah Bawah. I would be handing over to you now for you to take over. So if you're on, please take the wheel.
Yeah, hello, Foster. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Philip, and thank you very much, Albert. It's been a very informative session so far. To contribute a little to just your session as well, I was on a CS50 live lecture yesterday, and my key takeaway from it was that there is no unbreakable security system, but what we have to do is to raise the security to such a point that when anyone tries to break the security system, they are going to get to a point where they are discouraged and just walk away to look for easier systems to break. So if you can get Ghana to that point where other countries are way lower than us, I think we would reduce the number of people that are actually attacking our systems, and they'll move on to somewhere else, because mathematically, there's actually no unbreakable system. So diving on to the next session that we are going to have right now is on strengthening privacy policy and child safety on the internet. And the internet is a great tool that connects us all across the globe. It assuages the problem of distance as a barrier to information sharing. But this also brings its own problem, because when the free flow of information is moving this fast and information is power, we need to put in staff to moderate how this information is accessed and how it flows across the internet. And that's why we're looking at how privacy and child security on the internet, we can handle that. And joining me on this panel are three experts. Well, we have two of them on the call right now. And our first panelist is Eyram Tawia, and she's the Executive Director of Child Online Africa. Child Online Africa is a child-focused research and advocacy-based non-governmental organization. They work to ensure that young people are able to use new technology whenever and wherever they use the internet. Our second panelist is Eyram Tawia. Eyram Tawia has held multiple roles at the Internet Society, which is a non-profit organization made up of a global community, and it exists to provide leadership in internet-related standards, education, access, and policy. She is currently the chair of the Women and Youth Council at the Internet Society. So, Eyram, I would like to start with you and diving right into this topic. What exactly does internet privacy mean to you? Does it mean everyone else should leave you alone? What exactly does it mean to you? Eyram, if you're on the call, please say hi. I think Lily's on the call, but she's on mute. Lily, if you can hear me, please unmute.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was speaking the whole time and on mute. Let me add. Let me just start and say it was an interesting the tone for us. Do this conversation. So for internet privacy, right? You know what happens when somebody barges into your room and you're doing something you didn't expect the person to see, or you have some things around you didn't want them to chance on. So just like we spoke about security and cybersecurity, privacy and security goes hand in hand to a large extent. So for instance, you are searching or buying something online, and you give your information, your name, we call those personal identification details. You have your name, where you live, your ID number, and everything that comes with it. And then you've purchased and finished, but then right after, you see that somebody has faked the information and probably reached out to you for another reason, and you're wondering how they chanced upon it. Your privacy is what is private to you is what's supposed to be yours, and unless you let it out, it's not supposed to be there. Now, one thing that we constantly reiterate about working online and about using the internet is this: if you don't want it out there, don't put it there. That is because the internet never forgets. It seems like a cliche, but yes, once you put everything out there, it's replicated.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Because from my end, she's breaking up. Hello, Foster. Hello, Foster. Yeah, Lily, we are unable to hear you. You are breaking up. Wow. I think her connection is not quite good. First, are you able to mute Eyram?
To be forgotten. Hear me clearly?
Yeah, it's better now. Hello, Lily. What you said, I don't think we heard what you said. So if you could just take it again. Okay, so I think Lily has dropped off the call. Give her a second to join. And whilst we're waiting on that, I think, Awo, if you're on the call, please say hi.
Hi.
Hello. Okay. So my question for you is, we're talking about privacy on the internet, and then normally this would mean privacy for those who use the internet. And very recently, children actually use the internet more than a lot of us. And now that a lot of their educational resources are moving online in a certain like this COVID-19 situation that we are living in, when it comes to them, what does this privacy mean, and how do we link it to their safety? And what extra steps do we need to go to actually make sure they are safe when they use the internet? And who are these people that need to take those steps?
Hey, that's your question. It's like a whole thesis topic, right?
Yeah,
I will
that's a
try.
loaded
If I
question,
leave
but
out,
I know you're the
so
right person to be asking this to.
You need to listen good. If I leave out an aspect of it, you bring me back so I can respond to that. Okay.
No problem.
All right, cool. So good afternoon to your listeners joining from all over. When we talk about privacy, is an aspect of cybersecurity, and all of us in one way or the other have situations. And as someone who works in the area of children, our understanding of cybersecurity is that it goes beyond technology. So if I could allude to what your earlier speaker was talking about, awareness creation is one of the key ingredients in ensuring that people are safe or people's information is private online. Cybersecurity, like I said, goes beyond technology because it involves people and processes before the technology itself. So the technology itself is just a device. So how do we then create that strong resilience for humans who are seen to be the weakest link in cybersecurity to be able to withstand this kind of occurrence? So from where I sit, we analyze the risk from 4 dimensions, or we've classified the risk into 4 categories. The first category has to do with content. So what kind of content do we have there? How relevant or age appropriate is it for the audience receiving the content? So that if a child per adventure stumbles upon something, it wouldn't be harmful to him or her, and it will not damage his or her psychology. The second category of risk that or threats that we see again has to do with contact. And in this case, the child then becomes a participant in it. So this borders on the digital skills development and cybersecurity awareness. Because if you make contact with somebody, maybe because you have created an account there, how well are you sure that the other person at the other end is not an offender or a perpetrator? So that is also one knowledge that young people we feel should be equipped with, just so they don't become participants in abuse without knowing. The third category borders around children being the actors themselves. Initiating risky and abusive behavior has become the norm, especially during the lockdown. So children are lured to create content of themselves, videos of nudity, and upload them and all. if they learn and understand the implications of their actions, I'm not sure they'll be engaging in such acts. The fourth category has to do with the contract bit or the commercialization kind of thing, whereby we know for a fact that Facebook has age restrictions. So if you are below 13, you are not supposed to have a Facebook account. If you are below 13, you are not supposed to have an IG or Instagram account. If you are below 13, you are not supposed to be on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is 16 years. But how many of us parents who have given our devices to 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds during this lockdown? So those are the 4 categories of risk we encounter, and it hovers around the skills and knowledge level of the audience or the participants in the space that we're talking about. So it brings me to what I also like to talk about, which is the challenges when it comes to ensuring the privacy or protection of children. The first one has to do with children who basically do not have the opportunity to own devices. So they happen to connect on adults' devices and they experience abuse indirectly because of the kind of content the adults have. Again, around digital divide, whereby maybe parents could not afford the means to buy data, so they have to parasite from somewhere, and in parasiting, then the exposure to risk is there. Then I will talk about maybe let me call it transformation, digital transformation, whereby they don't have what it takes to even conduct or protect themselves online. So you are using a platform, but you haven't identified the reporting channels such that when you encounter a situation, you could just click and report the incident and get helped in that regard. Then again, parents do have literacy gap such that they have the device, they give it to the children, they explore and over-explore, and the assumption has been that, oh, my child knows more than I do and all. But in reality, because psychologically the child does not have the resilience to manage situations, the child does not know more than the parent. So in that case, if you don't hone your skills to take control of the device, then that is free exposure due to your own literacy gap. So that is again something we need to be looking at. Then the almighty COVID-19, which has automatically position all of us or push everybody to be a digital citizen by default. To what extent can we ensure that protection is done? It ought to be at the end of the producer or the service provider. But to what extent can we say boldly that our policies or our regulatory system is foolproof, such that protection can be guaranteed for children and young people, even as well as their families? Your earlier speaker, I think that was Mr. Yurenchi.
Yes.
No, Mr. Yurenchi spoke
Okay,
about
safety
by default or safety by design. Exactly.
Yes.
So in safety by design, I feel that if we all understand the principle which goes with it, then we know that the first point of call has to do with the service provider owning to their responsibilities and providing what it takes for us to navigate the space safely. If you take the case of the Zoom bombing, when the lockdown started, somewhere around April and people experience Zoom bombing, even churches experience that. So again, when the chief executive of Zoom was interviewed, he said, oh no, he didn't take safety into consideration when they were developing the platform. So if we can take on safety by design principles and ensure that we have the providers living up to their expectation when it comes to their responsibilities, we'll be good to go. If we can ensure that the users have been empowered and they have the autonomy to use the space judiciously, we'll be making a headway in everything when it comes to protection and safety of young people and even adults alike online. Then again, there ought to be some level of transparency and accountability. If I'm going to use a platform and you require so much information from me and I don't know what you're going to do with the information, then the next moment you are using that information in a manner I have not signed up to, then again, that is a problem. So how do we empower children to question some of the things that happen to them online, or even some of the things they give out voluntarily? Because if you compromise on your data, then you are losing the fight when it comes to privacy and cybersecurity.
Okay, so in very few sentences, we are living in at a time where children sometimes have to stay home and school online and their parents go to work. So they have to give them devices that they can have access to the internet with. And most of these parents are not educated in technology to the level where they can be able to put in some of these practices to make sure they only access the resources that they should be accessing. So what role are organizations like yours and the government doing to help with this? In very few sentences, what are you doing to help with that?
Bros, why are you situating our organization to government? Government is a powerful body on its own. We are doing what we are doing because we felt the need for it. So yes, as much as possible, we encourage parents on what they can do. For instance, if it's an issue of Android devices or iOS, there are apps that you can use in order to limit the time your child spends online. So if the Google Classroom that the child is supposed to be in is due to last for a certain period, as much as possible, you may want to limit the child beyond that time frame. But on a broader scale, you talk about parents who might not be digitally savvy. In that case, it's communication within context. And when I talk about that, I'm looking at a family focused security and safety policy. So a family level one, which is age appropriate. So for instance, if a 3-year-old between a child between 3 to 7 is supposed to be online, we've agreed at family level, this is what I want to do. This is the supervisory role I have to play as a parent. If I can't get myself updated on that, I request for an anti-spam platform from my provider so that I ensure that the child is safe and protected. If I'm dealing with 8 to 12 or 8 to 17-year-olds, I know what to do. So as much as possible, it's a strategy we will have to come up with in a creative way. There is no the solution is not cast in stones. Even if you are using a technology to monitor or supervise, again, you need to add a communication to it. So as much as possible, it's a blended effort. Parents who know they cannot safeguard their children by themselves rely on teachers. So which is why we also ask that teachers should be teaching online safety skills in the classroom, so that children in their pursuit of ICT would look at the behavioral pattern of their lives online and then attune themselves to behaving properly when they find themselves in the space. So it's a balanced role. There's no way teachers can play it alone. Neither is there a way parents can play it alone. It has to be the two coming together.
All right,
And
so this
even
involves
that,
us all working together to actually educate not just the parents, but the children as well as to how they should be using the internet.
yes. And in a more sustainable way too, at the school level, each school is supposed to have or design a cybersecurity policy or online safety policy for their school based on the school's technology culture. So when it comes to that, the school board's involvement is necessary. You recall recently there was a conversation as to whether children should be allowed to use cell phones at school and all. Again, some of the adults have strongly opposed it, for the reason being that they feel the children will be exposed to risk. But then if they are made to understand...
We have just a few more minutes to go, so if you could wrap up with your closing remarks on how we can actually help or put all this in place.
Right. So if schools board or school authorities could be informed about the dynamics of children growing in the digital space now, they'll be positioned in order to make policies that are age appropriate and relevant to the times for children and young people. So finally, I would like to say that it's a collective responsibility. Parents are needed, teachers are needed, people like you are needed, even app developers needed to understand what it means to apply the safety by design rules so that they wouldn't design solutions that are interfering into people's privacy and all of that. So we are all needed. And I want to also use the opportunity to inform your audience that ITU has launched the Child Online Protection Guidelines for 2020, which has everybody's side catered for. So as much as possible, we would like to encourage people to get to this website and maybe visit our site, download some of those guidelines and see how they can adapt it for their peculiar needs when the need arises. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Awe. That was very insightful, and I think we all have a part to play when it comes to protecting children who go online. And Eyram was talking to us about what privacy actually is as it relates to the larger group of us, not just children, just before she went offline. So Eyram, could you wrap up for us with what this looks like and what is the ideal situation that we can be looking around protecting our privacy in the next 10 to 20 years? What does the future look like and what is the ideal future for us? Hello, Lily, if you are speaking, we can't hear you. Okay, so I don't think Lily is able to hear us, or well, we can't hear her. So ideally, I think systems can be secure, but we also need policies in place that are going to protect the information that is secure within the company itself and what they are allowed to do with the secure information and what they are not allowed to do with it. And that should be transparent to all of us, and we should all have a part in actually deciding what this information is, and not just the companies themselves. So government has a huge role to play in this, to actually hold this kind of organizations to some policies that will guide how they are going to develop their own policies. Because if Google says, if you don't do this, you cannot use our services, and most people agree Google is a monopoly, then you are caught out and you just have to agree to what. Hello, Eyram.
Yes, can you hear me?
Not really. Sorry, I was forced to kick in to. Hello, Eyram, can you hear us? No, I don't think. I think Eyram still has a bad connection. So government has a part to play to actually drive the frameworks that guide these organizations to develop their own policies so that it would be in favor of the citizen and not just the companies themselves, because mostly they are driven to make money and government will be driven to protect its citizens. So does anyone in the audience have any other questions for our, because I think Eyram still has a bad connection before we wrap up on this. If you have a question, please drop it in the chat. Any question around how our privacy policy should be developed and how we should work to protect children who have access to the internet. Okay, thank you all very much. And I think the key takeaway that you should get out of this is government might have to drive a lot of the decisions that would actually protect all of us in terms of privacy and how our information is protected. But when it comes to protecting children online, we all have a part to play. Most of us on this call already understand how to restrict children from accessing a lot of these sites and how to protect them. So we should share this information with stakeholders in raising children, and they would be able to actually apply this to make sure our children have a bright future. All right, thank you very much. And Foster, I think you can come in now.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Hamzah, for this conversation, and Mr. Wolf also for your input. It's very insightful. I have learned a lot already, and I'm definitely going to read the policy that has been released by the ITU as well. We'll move on to the next session. I would hand over to Eyram to give us a brief about the cybersecurity program, and then we'll continue from there.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much, Foster. I think I just want to get back to the video. Yeah, Jennifer, please, can you also turn on and we talk about the cybersecurity program. So for the past, I think 2 months, we've been in discussions with universities from Finland and universities from Ghana, as we said, Blue Crest, Academic Citi, to introduce certain cybersecurity courses in a certain structure. Like it's going to start slowly and grow into even courses that can be completed in Finland when you start through these universities. So Jennifer, if there's something to say, give us a short brief, since you are with the Finnish team and enjoying the code.
Thank you, Eyram. I think the expert is here. So Jarkko, if you can hear me, I invite you to say a few words on behalf of the Turku University and what this is going to entail for the Ghanaian universities and Ghanaians at large. So.
Yes, so this is Jarkko. Can you hear me?
Yes, please continue.
Yes. So, of course, Turku University of Applied Sciences is very interested in this topic, and we are looking for international collaborations. And the talks that today we have heard, unfortunately, I missed the second panel, but this is something that we are looking forward to. So now I think it is clear that we have a common goals and common ideas, which issues are important in the field of cybersecurity and cyber resilience, and now we can start kind of planning what could be the forms of cooperation in this field between Finland and Ghana.
Thank you very much, Jarkko.
Thank you very much, Jarkko. Yes, so just keep following Ambitious Africa. Keep watch on the space. We are going to announce the structure of the courses soon. We are going to start as certification, professional certifications, and and single degrees and also double degrees, both at the bachelor's level and at the master's level. Finland is known for very, very, very robust cybersecurity curricula, and they are also inventors and originators. So we are happy to announce this partnership, especially with Bluecrest and Academic Citi as being the pioneer universities to partner as Ambitious Africa on this initiative. So very soon, Bluecrest and these institutions are going to come up with very great curriculum for cybersecurity that you can enroll in. So just keep watching the space. Jennifer, I don't want to miss our social handles, so mention them clearly and get everyone to join both the WhatsApp and the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think when we talk about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our handle is Ambitious Ghana. So just Ambitious Ghana. It runs for all the social media handles, and we have a WhatsApp group. That is where I think we have a little community who help us when it comes to events or any future projects. They are the first to know about it. So if you're interested in joining us, you are welcome. You can first follow us on our social media handles and finally get on our WhatsApp group as well. So you can just find us with Ambitious Ghana, simple as that on all the social media handles. And I don't know if Dr. Annan is still here before I give the final word, if you want to say something.
No, I think he dropped back. Todd is, I don't know if Todd is here, but I think we can speak on their behalf.
Okay. So Foster, do you have anything else? I think we are about wrapping up here. So.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for making time to join today's session. Very insightful conversation, picked a lot of things from it. Cybersecurity, as we have been able to validate in these two conversations, is clearly a very important factor to consider in our digital journey and building this tech ecosystem we are on. So I'd like to urge everyone to take everything you've learned here equally serious and try to read further on them and become advocates of ensuring that everyone who gets on the internet is safe as much as possible. And if you're involved in any innovation or any project of the sort, make sure cybersecurity is part of the core pillars that you focus on to ensure safety of everyone and the privacy of everyone being protected in the process. So thank you all. Jennifer, would you like to share your last words and vote of thanks, and then we can call it a wrap?
Yes. Thank you very much, Foster. So I think everything has been said, but as usual, I have to thank all the amazing people who helped to make this possible. So I will start with like the team, like Ambitious Africa, Ambitious Ghana team, Turku University, and all the people who have been working backstage to make this day a success. And for the speakers, I think you have been amazing. You shared some really good insights. You educated us very much on what cybersecurity entails and some of the maybe challenges we face on a daily basis. So all I want to say is thank you very much for taking time off your busy schedules to spend with us and share your knowledge and expertise. Also, I would like to thank our country lead, that is Eyram Tawia, for all his efforts and his activeness, and he's been amazing. And I just want to say thank you very much for all the energy you bring on board, Foster, for all the partners you brought on board to make this day happen. And Douglas, you're here, but I think your camera is off. Thank you very much for your efforts to making this event come off also. And Yarko, thank you very much for representing Turku University. I'm sure we are going to be talking more as we proceed with this program. And hopefully we can make a change one day at a time when these courses start and eventually become full programs where people can take it as a profession full time and maybe defend the cybersecurity space in Ghana. So thank you all, our amazing audience, for the time also. I think any program without audience is not a program. So you are very special, and thank you today for your time with us. Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody. We are logging out. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.